Swang guys, this is SwaggerTurbo and welcome back to yet another episode of Scuteria Supari, my team career mode. Before we get into this particular career mode part, we obviously have a league racing series also going on. So make sure to check it out, especially the next episode because it's like a combination of race 5 as well as 6 together combined. So yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, it was like extremely close and very good racing overall. But yeah, getting back to our episode right over here. Obviously, we have some personal department things going on here and there. It's basically for our training for Jihan, and obviously, we are focusing on season 2 rather than this season. It has been a pretty hard season to even get into points, but in few tracks which I actually am very comfortable with, I've been getting points, and I think we are on 28 points or something like that, and we have a aerodynamic problem. But the thing is, so I was actually thinking about this. I tried to put a update on, but then I couldn't because the department capacity had already been reached. The only thing that I'm focusing on right now is finishing this particular season so that we get the cash prize for, I think we are around 6th or something like that. So once we get that good amount of money, we will be able to upgrade our car even more. As you can see, we are not the worst car on track anymore, thankfully. Williams was right with us, but now we have jumped Aston Martin and are very, very close to the AlphaTauris as well. So let's get into the quali, obviously. But before I went into quali, I just checked out that chassis and durability are getting a completely new regulation change. So it's just weird because I actually wanted to try and upgrade a few more parts of the car, and there was no message or notification from the game that regulation changes are going to take place right before I thankfully went to upgrade a part and saw this. So we are going to have a problem with the chassis and durability. I haven't really done much with durability, but you can see that we have done so much in chassis. We don't have the resource points for now, but yeah, we're gonna save it and try and get at least the chassis back, if not the durability. But yeah, it's Singapore obviously, and we have the quali going on. And while it's a fast forward quali, you can just see the lies that I took. I made a few mistakes here and there, but overall the car just does not feel good. It was super understeery, and it's the same setup that I use for my multiplayer cars, which are so much better than this because the braking is better. Even the cornering speeds and the top speed that this car has is very poor compared to a normal multiplayer car. And as you can see, we could only finish 22nd. So let's take a new engine and let's get into the race.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Ricardo, and Esteban Ocon, Bottas, Albon, Kevin Magnussen, and Mick Schumacher, Stroll, Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, and Jehan Deruvala. Sonoda, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Latifi, Joe, and Kumar. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Even though Joe had a penalty, he also took an engine penalty, I guess. But we took every single part in the car. So yeah, we did quali last, and we're gonna start last because of this whole issue. And I even anti-stalled somehow in the formation lap. No idea how. But yeah, the car does not feel good at all right now. So we do need a lot of resource points, which is what we are lacking right now because Jehan is not contributing to the whole resource point list. He's just getting like 90, or should I say like under 100. He does not get more than 100 resource points, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. And I mess up our positioning on the grid. This is the first time I completely mess it up, but yeah, it's 5 red lights for the Singapore Grand Prix. It is lights out and away we go. As usual, AI getting an amazing second phase of the launch. We are going to try and use a bit of ERS and try to go down the inside maybe of Zhou. We are side by side going into the turn 1 and there is no space left by Zhou. Okay, that is completely, new. But yeah, we have to try and keep the head down. Firstly, we have to make sure that we don't hit these guys because it's on simulation damage. The slightest bit of contact and our wing is just gonna fly off the car. So, gonna use a bit of ERS over here as well to try to catch up to Joe and maybe even overtake him going into the next turn over here. We are dumping almost around 30% of our ERS. This time he does give us space, but we squeeze him out just slightly, kind of like revenge for turn 1. But essentially, we have overtaken Guan Yu over here. We have Latifi and Tsunoda going side by side right in front of us for 19th position. Obviously, we started 22nd, so not 4 points, but they are. Oh my god, they are so close that they almost hit into each other. And because of that, I had to brake quite a bit so that we don't lose our front wing. But going down the inside of Tsunoda over here, have an aerial shot, beautiful aerial shot. And Tsunoda is coming back at us though. He has that better exit, and we're going side by side into the next turn. I have to take the outer line, which is not the best line over here. Honestly speaking, because we are very close to the wall over here. And again, just side by side with Tsunoda, just about staying in front, giving him space as much as possible, and we make the move stick, and Joe and Tsunoda behind us start having a proper battle. So that's gonna help us to just stick with Latifi, not have that many fights, because if you're stuck behind the AI in one particular part of the sector, we essentially are gonna get out of the DRS range, and if that happens, there's literally nothing we can do. So yeah, using a bit of ERS here and there to just stick with Latifi here, that's the whole point. That's the whole plan also. It's like just stick with Latifi, get DRS, and if there are some safety cars or let's say crashes here and there, because the AI also make mistake obviously. So when they make those mistakes, all you have to do is just try and capitalize on that. Skipping to lap 6, now extremely close to Latifi there in the breaking point of turn 1. But yeah, it's just 6 laps of us right behind Latifi, and this is the closest we have been to Latifi. So we might have a chance to actually make a move on Latifi here. Using the ERS, as you can see, we are on 24 only. So we are dumping quite a lot of ERS. Latifi goes defensive, going down the outside, actually, around the outside, and we actually make it. We stay in bounds. It's not a legal move. Obviously, we did stay inside the track. We did not exceed it. And that was a very clean move. We'll take it. Next up, we got Vettel and our teammate Darubala. Darubala has actually been doing pretty well this race. He started like 18th, but yeah, he's been doing pretty good. We are end of lap 11 now. And yeah, we have a slight mistake here. Just graze the wall ever so slightly. And that messes our whole race up because unfortunately, we get a yellow front wing. As I said, we are on simulation damage. Even the slightest of taps is going to mess our whole strategy up. And because I had my repair wing on no, I went completely wide here, could not pit obviously because I wanted to pit and get the front wing changed. And when you're in the lane, like you can't change, you can't basically tell your pit wall that yes, I want to pit and change the front wing. So I, decided to stay out. One of my, worst decisions ever, because as you can clearly see, we are understeering everywhere. The front wing, obviously on the straight is fine, but Singapore is a very, very intense track. And while I was saying that, I hit the wall again on the right, and my wing is completely gone. On the right is just orange now, which is absolutely horrible. And you can see the amount of, the grip and turn in that I'm getting now that the front wing is not there. So kind of, hurt myself because lap 13 was our pit. It was our pit lap, and Sunoda just goes right past us, and Latifi is right behind. This race, I was actually expecting, okay, we'll do something in, with a strategy, try and take it one extra lap because the tires were pretty worn out, but they were okay to drive. They were not like, very bad, I'm losing my car or anything like that. It was actually pretty okay, but yeah, we just made a slight mistake, just tapped the wall ever so slightly, and our front wing is completely gone now. So Latifi right behind us, Joe is behind him, and I think it is Albon behind them. We'll have to, check that out later on. But yeah, Tsunoda is just completely gone. He's almost 2 seconds in front of us. We have to pit. There is no way I continue with this broken front wing and, make any time. So we go straight into the pits, try to, just get our wing changed, maybe go on to hards. I was, just thinking about retiring the car and just be like peace out. I don't really like Singapore that much, but I was just like, you know what, for the content we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna try as much as possible to bring back at least a few positions. If we are still last, let's just try and you know get a few positions if we can. Main thing being if we can. We've lost like around at least 6 seconds over there in the pit stop itself. So Joe will come out in front of us. We tap the wall coming out of the pits, but thankfully there's no damage. I was shocked and surprised that we didn't take damage there because obviously simulation damage. But yeah, Stroll is in front of us. Lap 16 now. Joe and Latifi are right in front of us. Just came out of the pits as well. And we have been putting in the shift to try and, just close the gap down. And from a 6 second gap, it's down to 2 and 2.4 seconds to Joe and Latifi respectively. And yeah, I'm on full push mode right now, just giving it all that I have to try and catch up to these guys, and maybe even get a DRS train. And while I do that, I push slightly too much and lose our front wing completely. Here's a aerial recap of that as well, and as you can see, it was just a slight touch, and our whole race is just pretty much over. So I was obviously, thinking about just maybe going for another pit stop and trying to stick it out. But then I realized that, as you can see right there in that particular corner, we almost lost our car. The car did not obviously, slow down because it doesn't have that much downforce from the front wing. So I had to pit. I would have lost around at least 20 seconds in the pit stop. So yeah, we are still losing time. We gained time. From 6 seconds, we brought the gap down to like 2, and now it's back to 4. And Darula is also pitting. So I decided let's pit and retire the car. I've never really done this in career mode of mine, but yeah, I did decide to retire from session to try and just save our engine because it's a brand new engine. I didn't really want to take any more penalties in the last few races, and yeah, I feel like overall for the greater good, this is a decent idea. Obviously, Jehan just going out, the pit wall will take us in, and we retire right here. It is a very, very unfortunate, circumstance right here because I did want to try and just, push for a few positions just for like bragging rights rather than anything else. But yeah, after that front wing was completely shattered, it's like it just was obviously so pretty fast, right-hander, then you brake and go left. But yeah, just a slight bit of touch, our wing is completely shattered. We have a red wing, not able to brake. I just decided to save the engine and move on. Obviously, Verstappen winning the Singapore Grand Prix, but the podium was actually very interesting this time around because it was Sainz and Russell right next to Verstappen. So obviously, Sainz has not been doing very well for Ferrari. So there was a pretty decent gap between Ferrari and Red Bull. But now he's trying to close that gap in, and Russell did pretty good. Singapore Grand Prix was actually pretty decent for the Mercedes team, and obviously it's the top three that we are looking for right now because we were not even close to the pace that these guys had. We are on 89% AI, but the car just isn't there yet. So it's like we are super, super slow. There's nothing much that we can do. As you can see, Verstappen first, Sainz second, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, Lando, Alonso, Ricardo, Esteban, and Valtteri, completing the top 10. And Darula and I are last and second last, which is super weird because he did 3 pit stops, no idea why. And if you see at the top 3, it's Max, Leclerc, and Perez. Only 19 points between them and 5 points between the top 2. Ricardo has overtaken us by 3 points, and we are down to 11th now in the whole in the driver standings. In the constructors though, only 21 points between Red Bull and Ferrari. We are in a solid 6th, pretty protected, no one in front, no one at the back. And yeah, hopefully season 2 is better. Make sure to leave a like for season 2. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.